when it comes to Daya, is $50 still my price target? The answer is yes. Doesn't mean it's going to reach that, but I still do believe it could hypothetically maybe reach it during a fully fledged bull run, even though nothing I say is financial advice. And the reason why is because I just think the fundamentals are too amazing here. Because when I take a look at Daya, some people pronounce it Dia or, whatever they pronounce it. But the way you take a look at it is that, I'm just going to say Daya, tomato, tomato. But even besides that, Daya stands for Decentralized Information Asset. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, what is that even all about? Now, let me explain. Because Daya empowers ecosystems to thrive by unlocking use cases for any asset with tailored oracles. Now, this is very crucial right here. And I think the key word there is oracles, because if we take a look at an oracle, basically what that is that it's a data feed that brings data from off the chain, and then it brings that data over into the blockchain. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, who cares about this? Well, first of all, I care. And I think many developers out there would care in theory, because without off-chain data, many decentralized applications out there would literally not be able to function properly. So again, off-chain data does matter. And when I take a look at oracles, they're very crucial. And the thing about Daya is this. If we take a look at projects that have this aspect of like oracles, like for instance, the most popular one, and I think everyone could probably agree with this, is something called Chainlink. Now, Chainlink is very widely known for its decentralized oracle network, and we all know how well that did, historically speaking, and even still as of right now, despite altcoins not doing the best, we know how well that did. It's a basic formula and recipe that we know works, at least in theory. So why can't that right there be replicated somewhat to a certain degree? Not fully, but again, to a certain degree when it comes to Daya. I just don't see why not. Clearly that works. I don't know why it wouldn't work here as well. Maybe not as great, but again, why not? It's like, for instance, people love meme coins. They love Shiba Inu, they love Dogecoin, and take a look at how well Pepe did, right? So in my opinion, it kind of is the same concept here. Daya is like the Pepe of Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, and the Dogecoin of this space is like Chainlink, and then the Shiba Inu of this space is like the Pyth network. It's spelled like Pyth, the Pyth network, but even besides that, this is the way to take a look at it. Now, here's the thing as well. We'll see that Daya has aspects which include, allegedly, token price fees, which supports over 3,000 tokens. There's also verifiable randomness, which is for random number generation. Also, if we take a look at something like Chainlink, it also has aspects of random number generation too, which I talked about a bunch in my Chainlink videos. But even besides that, it's also focused on something called real world asset. Now, more specifically, it's like RWA price feeds, real world asset price feeds. Now, this allegedly provides real-time price feeds for traditional assets like stocks and commodities, and it supports allegedly over 20,000 assets. There's also aspects of fair value price feeds, which is for fair value pricing feeds for assets that accounts for the collateral ratio, whatever that means, who cares, right? But the thing is, what I care about is Daya having a very solid and strong and passionate community, which I think arguably has pretty good exchange listings, not to mention fundamentals are rock solid. Basically, there's a bunch of stuff to talk about when it comes to Daya, but all I care about is the oracle aspect, and I think that's pretty much what a lot of people care about as well, so there's no need to overcomplicate that. But even besides that, here's the thing. Why isn't $50 even too much to ask for? It's because if, let's say, it were to go to the price of $50, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $6 billion. Now, I get it. That's around a 94x from here, but really, when I take a look at that market cap, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem too crazy because, first of all, we've seen Dogecoin exceed over $80 billion in market cap back in 2021. That year, we saw Shiba Inu reach around $40 billion. Now, I get it. This is not a meme coin, so some people may be thinking, okay, it's kind of unfair to compare it to, those examples. Well, here's the thing. I think the reason why it's fair is because back in 2021, there was around 300 million crypto owners at the peak of that bull run. Now, we imagine this. Currently, we have over 600 million according to Crypto.com research, which is more than ever before in history. But I think what's even more bullish about this statistic is the fact that we have not seen an altcoin season right now like what we saw back in 2021. Not to mention, Bitcoin has never even ever seen $150,000 yet. And currently, we still have this many crypto owners. So what would the amount of crypto owners be like if Bitcoin was at the price of 200,000, maybe even 300,000? Would there be over 700 million crypto owners? Even over 800 million? That wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Only time will tell, but I'm still going to pay attention because, I mean, this one could be so special. With that amount of volume, in my opinion, are we saying around 6 billion can't flow into this? This is the way to take a look at it. Who knows? Only time will tell, but I'm just saying it doesn't seem that difficult, at least in my perspective. Now, even besides that, when could we very well see altcoins peak as a worst case scenario? Now, altcoins usually, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, this is no surefire date, but you know what? I'm going to mention it nonetheless because 18 months after the last Bitcoin halving event that happened in April of last year would actually mean around October this year. So with that in mind, is this a guarantee? No, absolutely not. Historical performance doesn't guarantee future performance in the same way. But you know what? I'll pay attention because there's so many bullish factors regarding this, right? Like for instance, we take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF. Those are very bullish factors. Take a look at the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, and also what the Solana ETF in Canada could hypothetically bring in terms of the positive impact for the crypto space moving forward. So there's a lot of bullish factors here, and all I gotta do right now is just stay patient because that right there is the only thing I can control. Some people out there like to say, oh, dude, why don't you pull up a price chart, draw some random triangles and all this? Look, it doesn't matter if I draw SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse, or I draw some random triangles on a price chart. That's not going to change the market. The market's not going to listen to me. It doesn't care what I draw on a price chart. So instead of focusing on stuff like that, I'd rather focus on the fundamentals. I'd rather focus on, what are the exchange listings looking like? I'd rather focus on the community. I'd rather focus on, what is the project looking like in terms of the direction moving forward? That's the stuff I'd rather focus on. Like drawing stuff on a random price chart doesn't matter. Let's say I pull up a price chart on Daya and I draw some random triangles, all this type of stuff. I try to draw, Mickey Mouse or SpongeBob. How does that even really, make any sense? Because here's the thing. If I'm only analyzing Daya based off a price chart and not the fundamentals and all this, then it would look kind of bad, right? Because then it would feel like, whoa, why is the price going down? But then it's not taking a look at the bigger picture. It's not taking a look at the mission of what Daya is trying to achieve. I'd rather focus on stuff like that. So again, I get it. I'm not, a day trader or whatever, but I'm not trying to be like that. And that's not something I want to focus on because that's not my style. My style is a little bit more boring, but you know what? I do actually find this kind of good in a sense because, again, even though it may be a little bit boring, like, just acquiring, holding, and just waiting, it's not as exciting, but for me, it's a little bit more consistent and I'm still going to pay attention to that. That's what I believe in. And you know what? Daya at the price of $50 wouldn't surprise me whatsoever during this bull run. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's only the Captain. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Bye.